everybody. Just hit myself in the lip. This is AG Marie. Thank you all so much for stopping by to watch the very first episode or installment of Being a Vintage Girly in This Economy. I might have to change that name. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Anyway, so in this first episode, I just want to share. I'm only going to share two things with you guys today. It's going to be very short. First of all, please go to the AGM Media Patreon. The link is going to be in the description. That's where you can get access to exclusive content. Once this video turns 2 months old, then I will be sending it to Patreon for subscribers to only have access to it. And what else? So another thing that is on the Patreon, this is something that is free. The 5-Figure Vintage Guide is on Patreon right now. You can go download it today. This is a guide, an e-booklet that you can download to, every time I try to sit down and record something happens outside of my building. But anyway, you can download this. It's basically a step-by-step guide on my approach to living your best vintage life on a budget. I talk about it often inside of the booklet. Right now I am not in a place where I want to live a vintage inspired life. I love vintage decor, vintage clothes, vintage hairstyles, and all those things. Even like reading over old ways of cooking, like classic recipes or old recipes, and kind of recreating those. I'm just not in that place where I can go on eBay and bid $500 on this glass that Marilyn Monroe had in 1959 or something like that. I am very much right now in the moment, and I will continue to be, even if I'm a millionaire. I am very much a girl for the people. Just wanted to again share my approach and how I bring that feeling of nostalgia and quote unquote vintage vibes into my own space and into my own life without breaking the bank, without like overspending and things like that. So please go to AGM Media Patreon. Like I said, the link is going to be in the description box, and download that document. Share with others. Please share the link. Don't just download the document and share. I want people to like come to the actual website and just explore all the different things that I have to offer. So we are currently in my kitchen. I'm very excited. At some point I'm going to like start sharing possibly some cooking videos. My kitchen has become, it's so funny. When I was a kid, like adolescent, teenager, I grew up in one of those families where, like most families, Virginia, Southern, Black family, Southern in general, like black or white, doesn't even matter, where if you are a woman, you can work a 9 to 5, you can work a 10 to 6, you can work 12 hours a day, but when you come home, you are still the person that's cooking dinner for the most part. And even if, of course that varied, and I'm not gonna get deep into that and like say, anyway, I'm rambling. But I was definitely that kid that was just like, you know what, when I grow up, I'm not gonna learn how to cook. I don't want to cook. Because I'm not going to be, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I have to cook, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to learn how to do it. If anything, I'll have somebody else cook for me. So here we are, like 20 years later, over 15 at least. And not only do, of course, I'm cooking because I can't afford somebody to cook for me right now. And mostly, I love cooking. It's so funny how life works. I'm not the best. I'm still learning. I'm still discovering different things, but it is easily the most relaxing thing that I do in this adult life, and especially having my own space to do it. I'm just getting my own place last year, so this is my first place that I'm living in, other than where I lived when I was in college. So with that said, my favorite room in my apartment is my kitchen. And I recently was able to decorate my dining space. I can't say dining room because it's in the kitchen, but my dining space. I do live in an old apartment, so you might notice that It looks a little janky on the walls, but it's an old apartment. I think it was built in the 1960s. So my dad bought me a dining room table back in February or March or something like that. And I just put it up in July because he was actually coming in town, and I was just like, all right, let me go ahead and set this dining room table up. It did not take me long. It took me like an hour. What to me is long, but in hindsight, like in the moment, an hour is a long time to set something up. But in hindsight, I got it done. So I'm not gonna pull the camera back just yet so y'all can see the whole thing, because I do want this space to be fully decorated. As you can see, I've got baby's breath for decoration, and it's dying. But my plan is to always have fresh flowers on my table, and I do want a piece of wall art up here, so I'm gonna show you guys the whole shebang at some point. But for today, I just want to show you all a few things. We got a little guest coming in, knowing full well she's not supposed to be in here, but I don't make the rules. This is her house. I just live in it, or her apartment. So things that I want to show you all. And this is featured, my dining room table is featured in the 5-Figure Vintage Guide, and it's featured on the page that kind of shows ways that I bring the nostalgic feeling into my space. So for me, when I think about kitchens and vintage kitchens, I don't necessarily think Hollywood or glamorous kitchens. I think country, rural. I think about my great-grandma's kitchen, both great-grandmas, and I remember lace, and I remember decorative glasses. So I do have a lace tablecloth and decorative glasses with like or dishware with fruit or flowers, like those little painted flowers, painted fruits and veggies. And don't you start hold on one second. Okay, and we're back. So yeah, that's how, when I think about kitchens, I think of a vintage style, vintage inspired, nostalgic kitchen for me is a country, cozy, rural kitchen. Now, when I make money and I get famous or, you know, become affluent or whatever the word is, I do want a Spanish style home. So my idea of a nice kitchen is going to change. But right now, when I'm in here, I think about my great grandma, especially my mom's maternal grandma. She had a small kitchen. At some point she had a gas stove. I think by the time I was born they got rid of it, but that kitchen did not change. Yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of like drifting off just thinking about it, but that's how I want it. And my whole kitchen is that's how I'm trying to build my entire kitchen. I have like I said, my apartment is already old, so I don't have to do anything to the drawers or the cabinets or everything. They're old. But what I have, so the glass that I showed you, I got these glasses from Dollar Tree. To me, they have that vintage vibe. They have that painted flower decorative look going on. I got them the month that I moved in. So I moved in here last November. And this spring, I wouldn't even say the spring, this summer actually, I would say in June, I went back into Dollar Tree because I work near a Dollar Tree, so I'm always in here. I love Dollar Tree. I found these plates. They had these plates out. And I walked past because I don't know what I was planning on getting at first, but I definitely was like, when I saw the plates, I was like, oh my God, these are the plates that match my glasses. So this is the way, again, you can see the full picture on the 5-Figure Vintage Guide, but I have my table set up with 4 plate settings. I just have like a regular white plate, decorative plate, and of course, in glass. So I've got the blue glasses diagonal from each other, and the yellow lemon glasses settings diagonal from each other. What was I gonna say? The reason I am able to keep up with this decoration is because I'm the only person that's here. So if there's usually only one place set missing at a time. And like I said, I got all this from Dollar Tree. I did not go authentic. I didn't tell myself I'm going to find authentic dishware, authentically vintage dishware. I was just like, I'm going to Dollar Tree because Dollar Tree has some nice old looking stuff, vintage looking stuff. And
Hello there, this is AG Marie coming to remind you to make sure you follow or subscribe to the AGM Media Patreon where you can get exclusive access to exclusive content. Also, be sure to follow AGM Media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
there was something else I wanted. Oh, my salt and pepper shakers. My grandma, my paternal grandma, gave these to my mom. I can't remember if she bought these for her birthday or my grandma. She's passed away. She passed away in 2018. She was definitely one of those people. She didn't drive. She walked everywhere she went or caught the bus. And I remember driving from school one day because her apartment was like across the street around the corner from my high school. And I remember leaving school one day and being like, and seeing her at the bus stop, and at random memory just popped up. But she would go to stores and she would just buy stuff. If it was on clearance or on sale, if it struck her, she bought it. She never needed it, barely ever needed the things that she bought. And she would just have like a trunk full of stuff. So she used to, when we were kids, me and my sister, she would intentionally buy stuff for us. But as we got older, of course, tastes change when you become an adult or when you become a teenager. She would just buy stuff, have a trunk full of stuff, and just let us pick stuff out. That was our Christmas with her. So I don't know. I'm sure these are not old or anything. These are very new in terms of like vintage or anything. But I just like spill some of the salt out. But lost my train of thought, but they were my grandma, so they're pretty much an heirloom at this point, I guess you could say. So my lace tablecloth that you cannot see, I got that from Amazon for like $12. Even my flowers, those were $5 from Kroger. So I'm always finding ways to bring. I keep saying vintage, but for me, especially in this room, it's more about nostalgia. It's more about memories. It's more about like what makes me feel like a child again, I guess you could say, and what makes me connect with people who are no longer in my life physically. And this, like I said, every time I come in here, especially when I sit at my dining room table, I think of my mom's maternal grandparents. And one more thing that I wanted to show you all. I also have this radio. It works. And it has, I don't know if you can see, it has age-old radio at the top. And my grandparents, my mom's mom and her stepdad, they got this for me Christmas 2013. So I used to have a radio show called Age-Old Radio. It was on Spreaker. And I used to play, what else? Classic music like old jazz and swing and everything. So, of course, they thought about me and they got this radio made for me. It's obviously, I can't pinpoint a decade. I'm not good with decades and for radios and electronics. But they bought this for me, so I have it sitting on the table for right now. I might move it somewhere else, but I like the idea of having like an old radio to like listen to music in the morning. I haven't had a chance to like sit down at my table and listen, and enjoy a nice breakfast. If anything, I'm sitting here really quick and eating something. And yeah, and I also got this napkin holder from Dollar Tree. Nothing spectacular. I did want to buy an old Pepsi napkin dispenser, possibly. Or some type of old restaurant soda with like the actual classic branding on it, like the old Pepsi branding. But if I don't get that, an authentic version of that, I don't mind getting a reproduction of anything. Like that's pretty much bottom line how I am. I do not mind reproductions. I save money. And what else? So like I said, this is like my favorite space right now. I am going to be showing some type of cooking video, so then y'all can probably see my whole kitchen. Hopefully it'll be camera ready. So next week, or next episode, I'm hoping to have like a printout of the 5-figure vintage guide to show you all the potential of what you could do with it, how you can print it out and how you can actually use it, and how I apply it to my life and how I plan to apply it. So this has been the very first episode of being a vintage girly in this economy. I am going to clean this salt up, but I need to get ready for work, so I'll probably have to wait until I get back home. Yeah, so remember, please, first of all, follow AGM Media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Follow the Patreon. You don't have to become a subscriber right now, but I do recommend that because I'm going to be putting like a lot of content behind a paywall, I guess you could say. Right now, something very interesting that I have. One of the tiers is called the Tea Room. It's the more expensive tier. It's $20 a month, 25, 20. I can't remember right now, but it's in that range, 20 to 25. So everything that I create, every single piece of content that I make is going in there. Old content, early access content, exclusive content. Right now, last weekend, I posted a short script that I wrote. So every month, what I'm going to do is go through photos from the Library of Congress's digital archives. What I did was I found like a random word generator, put in a word, and I think the word that I got was oak. So I went to the Library of Congress archive, typed in the word oak, and I think I came, if I remember the word correctly, and I came across a photo of some trees in the snow. And I used that photo, and that's the plan for, it's called Short Script Saturdays. So the plan is to look at a photo, sit with it, find inspiration, and write a short script. So I wrote a 5-page short script based off of that photo, and it is a photo that's in the public domain. So if you want to read any of my writing, it is on the Patreon. You have to become a subscriber to see it. And that particular tier, again, which is called the Tea Room, has a 25-person limit because I don't want everybody reading my script and downloading my scripts and I'm not gonna get into that, but and I'm also just like, okay, who really cares that much? But I'm just paranoid. But thank you all so much for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. This episode is going to be up for 2 months, and then it will go on the Patreon website under. It will be locked away for subscribers October 11th, 2023.